Hello, hello, hello. My name is Kevin. This is 3020 Gaming. It's Thursday, and the overlay looks different. That's because a thing happened and a bunch of my images went away. So this is a slapdash quick version. There will be a nicer one next week. Say no more. Back to the good parts. This game, oh man, Sean, you have made a masterpiece, and even the bits of it that we've left behind were really, really good. And the parts that we have taken with are excellent as well. We are trimming for narrative effect in some cases, but it's working, so let's keep doing it. Also, Ethan for these character sheets. Amazing, wonderful character sheets. Speaking of which, I haven't got mine open. I should probably do that. We might need Bill at some point tonight.
I mean, we only have the 2 of the 3,
There's only
basically.
there's only
so,
2 left.
2 of the 4.
Yeah, we better have that character sheet up just in case.
Just in case we decide to roll dice tonight.
To do something, yeah, like to actually, yeah, you know, if we run out of other things to do. Anyway, with that and a quick round, one more thing we have to do, because we always have to do this. I have to introduce these amazing people that show up every Thursday and go down this. Well, if it's a rabbit hole, it's deeper than most rabbit holes, and it goes to some pretty dark places. But anyway, these wonderful people that join me every week to go down it together. Robin, thank you. Karis, thank you so much. And Austin, thank you very much. And with that, we have some summaries to do. 2 of them from disembodied folks. So who wants to start? Oh, a different embodied folk though, not our.
Yeah.
A different. Oh, I guess since I'm the odd man out, I'll go
Differently bodied. I like that. Okay, let's do that. Yeah.
I'm the
So
alternative bodied. It never ceases to amaze me. They use their eyes for everything. For daydreaming and staring off into space and crying. Oh God, the crying. But it amazes me how little they see. I was always telling them, close your eyes. Stop depending on them so much, as they will lead you astray. Listen. Listen with your ears and with your spirit. Luckily, somebody else was listening. And it took them showing up to show that I had not abandoned them. I had not abandoned my friends. In fact, the furthest I had gotten from them was to recruit another. It was a sad journey. One in which I had to prolong the suffering and the age and the exhaustion of a spirit. But I did. I helped its essence pass on to the next generation. And I'll help the other bear cubs. I'll make sure they grow up strong. So for now, to you, my friends, I trust you with this small cub. Hold on to it for me. I'll be back in a few days.
Any volunteers to follow that?
As the someone else, I can.
Okay.
Carrie. This is sort of an odd mess. I was trading with Seji and Jabir just, oh gosh, a couple of days ago, I suppose. And all of a sudden, they got into a panic. They were just pleading with me, wanting me to look into something for them. And they kept gesturing off to the north, saying something about, yeah, something was wrong, something was changed. I don't even know. They lapsed into some, I'm pretty good speaking with the trolls, but I couldn't actually follow everything that they said. So I headed north, and I might be getting an inkling of what they were talking about. I had just passed over into the sort of greater Frostimouth area. I had bypassed the settlements, and I don't know, I was feeling kind of drawn to Frostimouth. And all suck up aloft ran into Kira. I haven't seen her in years. And she came chattering about these people and these spirits and these guardians and these chatter. Oh my goodness, that Puka can chatter. So I followed her along. She wanted me to come and see these people. I don't know why she wanted me to come and see these people, but I came and saw these people, and they're such a ragtag group. I mean, a couple of humans, a couple of spirits, but I could see what Kira meant by the guardians. They're telling outlandish tales about Frostimouth, and they were grieving for a friend that was just right there. I'm feeling, yes, I'm feeling called, and I may end up towards Frostmouth. I don't know whether I'll travel. I'm not feeling called here, though, so I'm not really sure. We'll see where this goes. But oh, my sympathies are definitely with these people.
I think I'll go next because I think I want Kira story to sort of blend into the hell that we're about to walk face long into.
Yeah. Accurate.
So this one is not to feet. I just realized this about 30 seconds ago. This one is to the Wolfren. Look over at him. Big, goofy grin on my face. And just do my best. I know he outweighs me like 4 to 1. I'm going to try and tackle him. Just run over and just poof, into all that fur. Arms around that big neck. You stinky fucker, you were right. Come on, go with it. And I try and trip him. Like, I'm trying to get him to just fall down, and I'm assuming he's just sort of...
So you hit this wolf and it goes...
And just rolling in this, like, there's dander flying every which way. And I mean, normal wolf hair is this long, so I'm assuming, it's just in there. And just rolling in it, and back off a little bit. Oh, don't you half stink, though. Well, what are we going to do about... He ain't got no body. Oh. You still ain't got our shaman back. You know where she is? Is she with you? In the owl, maybe? I don't think so. Well, it's good at least one of them ain't gone. Come on, let's have some food. And just scruff him, and again, there's no way he's moving unless he chooses to, but just grab him by the scruff and pull him over by the fire and start feeding him. out of his own bowl, so out of my own bowl. So
We're a day out from Frostmouth, if the weather is willing and we're able to get there. The messenger said there were 3 metal men, a savage horde, and a wyvern descending on Frostmouth. And I don't know what we're going to do to help. And whatever Vadden had planned for his cache of iron that he was collecting for 6 or 7 seasons, there's a lot of questions, and there's no answers. Which again shouldn't surprise me anymore. I'm worried for what's going to happen. I'm worried for my friends, for my family, because I don't know where the chips are going to fall after this. There's going to be a fallout, and I know what's going to happen. Because I can't possibly stay. I can't stay with Vadden and have Bill and Gear and wherever Molly's go off. I said I'd help. So I guess I know what's going to happen. Maybe I just don't want it to. Not yet.
and we're one day out, right? This is the morning we've gotten up. We just had another
Yeah,
night,
in
no
distance,
rest,
it
if
might
I
be.
remember, right? Yeah.
We had very little rest. I think we rested for like a couple hours for like
Right.
light.
Yeah.
But I think in distance we have one day, depending on how the weather goes and all that kind of stuff. We're going through the mountains, so it's not like paved roads or anything. But
Well then, Miss.
Caradwin is going to go out and try to hunt first before they leave.
Yeah.
And so she'll probably do that early morning.
Are you taking the bear?
She will take the bear with.
Here, Bill, watch this.
Oh, I assumed that the other 3 were staying with Bill.
Yeah,
the 3 little ones, the
He's
3
got the
brown
other
ones,
3.
right?
It's fine.
I got the 3
then-
not so special bears because that's what Bill gets.
You had the owl for most of its infancy.
Hey, their claws are just as sharp.
Yes, yeah. They will eat just as many of my supplies.
And they will also practice their tree climbing on your
me.
legs.
Bill.
Yes. Yep. And we all know that I'll let them. Scars or not.
Oh.
You know, it's even easier on the bark. There's a tree. There's a tree for you. Oh dear.
Oh. Yeah.
I don't think you're making it to Frostmouth today.
Oh no,
Well,
that's
that-
for
this was-
resupplying.
Yeah, this was a complete failure to resupply. Oh, that makes sense though.
Yeah, it does, since we're off the beaten path basically.
Well, you're also approaching what sounds like a war zone, right? If all of that is going on one day's march away, then quite possibly there's
Yeah,
just no
and
big
the
game around here.
messenger wasn't like clear on if they were already there, if they were approaching. Like we don't know the timeline really. It was just this is the
Yeah.
fastest way. But
But
it
either
does
way,
kind of
yes.
make sense because Caradwin does have an ulterior motive to going out. And so
Really?
she'll find,
No.
Yes. This was actually an idea I had earlier. So she'll go out and she has the bear with her. I'm assuming the wolf right wing came with. I don't know for certain. Yeah.
Probably would've.
Yeah. And so just walking around and she'll find like a kind of clear spot. And she will set the bear down in the snow and she'll sit next to it. And she'll kind of look at the white mane, not sure what to do in the situation. And with the end of her bow, she will put a circle around them.
Turning all of you into
Putting, yeah. And just sit there quietly for a moment and look to the little bear who's probably trying to wander away. I don't know. And then the white mane, and she'll look to see if there are any of the crows around.
If you're drawing a circle, there are crows around.
And the
And
little
so-
bear
Like
is
circles.
not wandering away. He's just looking up at you. Just
Playing patty cake.
Oh. That's why I can't have
Is-
pets in games.
Mhm.
I get too attached. Problem. And so she'll take a really deep breath. I don't know where you are, Amala. I hope you're okay. But we could really use a shaman. We could really. I could use another friend. We're not complete without you. And then she'll just look at the crows. It's not really an augury, but she's not sure what else to do. So
You're not
Yeah.
thinking magic thoughts.
No.
she's working on what she's got.
Yeah.
More telling the crows, shoo, shoo, go find them all. Go.
Oh no.
Oh, so definitely add 2 to your failure track.
yeah.
Yep.
hmm
This is why we don't roll dice.
Yeah.
I mean,
This is why
technically
we've
we
made a
do this
habit of
to
not using
ourselves
it.
without
I
the dice, but
think I've actually gone up a level from failing more than I've gone up a level from succeeding at vows, actually, to be fair. To gain more things by failing. Anyway.
I mean, I think that just answers the question. So she doesn't get any concrete info. Which she wasn't expecting. So.
Actually,
is it worse?
Tell the story. Tell the story.
the crows sort of flutter, and Caradwin remembers back real early on when we had the cloud that was the crows that formed the wolf. And there's fewer of them, but it seems like they're further away and there's more of them as there's this black amorphous mass that comes up and it forms into these giant wings that reach and unfold, but it doesn't feel like an embrace coming her way. It feels like something that's going to swarm and consume her. And just as it starts getting present, it just scatters and disperses. And there's just a couple of crows sitting around looking at you like,
That was
"What are you
weird.
looking at?"
Is Strongcaw there?
Yeah.
Just kind of look
And
at her.
she's looking at you intently.
Do you know where she is?
She just looks at you intently. That way that crows look.
Mhm.
Jot. And after a moment, she'll get up and kind of dust herself off, pick up the bear cub again.
And when you get back to the camp, for a second it almost looks abandoned, and then you see on the far side of the little clearing we were in 3 bears sitting in the snow staring at Bill's ass, because Bill is head down underneath a big log, and you just seeing handfuls of snow and dirt come flying out. You hear from underneath, "You know, it should be you little buggers doing this. It's you learning, you know, not me, not me. Get here. And he backs out and sort of reaches over and scoops all three of them and just shoves them under the log, where I'm sure there are plenty of hibernating bugs that they find very quickly. Comes up just covered, like it's in his beard and what's left of his hair. He's all covered in dirt. Pops up. "Oh, hello."
Hi. Having fun? And she'll
"Turns
put
out
down
I'm a natural father, I am.
she'll put down the
Look
silver
at
bear
them
cub
lot,
to
all
join
fed and
himself.
everything."
Yeah. You've got snow.
Well, that explains the headache. Oh. How's your little one then?
Calm. And she'll have set him down and so he can go and join his siblings.
Right.
But
You got one, I got three, and yours is the calm one. Right. You know, I miss that owl.
I mean, when we were kids, Kadal and I found a clutch of wyvern eggs. There were 6 of them, and we thought we were very smart to keep it secret as the eggs hatched and try to take care of them. Wyverns are born with teeth.
I ain't never seen one before about a month ago, but I believe you must be right.
We kept them secret for 2 months.
So how big does a wyvern get in 2 months, miss?
And she'll kind of look at the bear cub. Double that.
So I imagine sheep and whatnot was going missing then.
No more than usual. But they were a handful.
So what happened after the 2 months, miss?
One of our hunters found where we were keeping them and had some of them were relocated. The ones that were more feisty were not.
Right. Your people are a bit direct with the way they deal with things, miss.
Yeah.
Mountain
Which
people are like
means-
that.
Which means I got a plan that they're not going to be expecting, miss. You tell me when we get close, this town of yours. And then you're going to tell me all about this husband of yours. And you're going to point out from the trees which house is his. And don't worry, miss, I ain't going in. I ain't risking my ass on this. No, our little friend here. Feet comes out on her shoulder and scritches him under the chin. He's got this thing he does, right? You ever wonder what your husband's most afraid of in the old wide world, miss?
I have theories.
You want to find out which one's right? They're just scritching feet under the chin, and he's just leaning into it. Just, I don't know if they have jaws, but he's just... The mandibles.
Just be careful. Careful of the pincers. Just be careful.
Oh, I'll be as careful as ever, miss. I ain't going in.
And just... there will be a lot of my family. And I don't know exactly how they're going to process.
Well, I'll take my cues from you, miss. The second you start shooting, and I pull out that big brass chain link that we got from the giants that he's had turned into a brass knuckles.
That was You attempted to steal?
Yes.
Soul.
Yeah. Got busted.
That might be the least of their worries, though, if what you say is going on there.
Yeah, I don't know the timeline. Apparently, Vadin was aware something was going to happen, so I don't know. Hopefully,
Who's Vadin?
my husband,
Okay, but who is he to Frostmouth?
he's an elder. He's originally of
Ah,
Edgemore, and
He's
he
an
was the one who trained me to hunt.
He's also one with a reputation to protect, and I'll just bet the fine folks of Frostmouth wouldn't be very happy to find out he's been hoarding all the iron. For how many seasons is it now?
6 or 7.
All them farm implements and swords what could have been used in this defense of the city. Oh, imagine how outraged they'll be when they find out that.
It doesn't make sense. Edgemore is known for their defense, but
Let
that's
me make
something
this
he's
real
been keeping
clear,
secret
miss.
for years.
Let me make this real clear, miss. I'm far done past making sense. I've gone all the way to making impressions now, miss. We're going through your town like it ain't even there.
it might not be there.
It might not.
We got us a wyvern to find, we do. And then we got to figure out how to do to it what we done to gear without doing to it what we did to gear.
It's an adult wyvern. All the ones we've found have been infants.
Kira probably knows where it is.
Another bloody egg. Oh, you heard him, feet. Move over in there. Start wiggling around in his backpack. I imagine a wyvern egg's quite a bit bigger than that oversized chicken. Looking around to see if the Ula's anywhere around.
It's somewhere. You hear a who in the distance.
You look
They have
around and you
excellent
come.
hearing. Yeah.
You're like looking up and you see there's this like silver bear cub face, and you're like, "What?" I'm looking up, and then you notice that the bear cub is just like flopped, arms and legs over the white man's head. And so you've got two sets of like crystal blue eyes looking
Yeah.
at you. One that's like not amused,
Yeah.
not amused, and the other one that's like,
Oh,
Just
come
no
on.
clue.
White mate's a soft.
We're gonna have a spirit pile.
Yes. Yeah. Then
A totem
the owl
pole.
comes along and lands
A
on
totem
the head
pole.
and the bear, yeah.
"No danger."
And Caradon will look to Tahiri. Are you going with us?
I don't know, possibly. Unless I'm called elsewhere. It at least seems we're headed the same direction for now.
Yeah.
Could use all the help we can get.
So you seem to have rather detailed plans for something that I'm not sure how to say this. Seems periphery. What is your plan for? You said it was being besieged.
Frostmouth?
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully to help them and stop the horrors that come with.
I'm not going to lie, my plans were a lot more along get them the hell out and run.
You're headed the wrong direction for that.
I don't know. After everything we've learned, something about this feels like something we won't be able to get people away from. And I feel like Vaden has more of a hand in it than I know. And that's what I'm concerned about.
Well, I ain't got the personal ties to him you do, miss. There's a couple of very specific bits of information I want out of that shit. I want to know who took the iron. I want to know why you was gathering it in the first place. And the last one ain't so much a question. I want him to be absolutely certain and positively clear, miss, that you, when we leave that little shithole of a town, pardon me, I didn't grow up there, it ain't special to me. When we leave there, you are Miss Caradwin.
On that, we have the same idea. And I have a feeling I know where that iron ended up. I have a feeling some unfortunate wyvern became its home.
Well then, we know a bit about hatching eggs. This one will be easy, miss. You already trained one until it was 2 months old. Or 6 of them, I should say. One of them should be easy, right?
Trained is a strong word. A pair of 9-year-olds made sure that they didn't terrorize their home, and the idea that they were keeping them safe. I don't think that's training.
Well, you still got all your fingers. That counts as trained to me, miss. But regarding your husband, either by choice, well, he either chooses to leave you and let you free, or you'll spend the rest of your days as a widow.
Let's hope it doesn't come to that drastic of a statement, though I won't lie and say it hasn't been an option.
Well, it wouldn't be right for you to do it, miss, but to me, he's a complete fucking stranger. I'll pop him in an heartbeat. We
Just
should get
make
going.
sure none of my nieces and nephews aren't watching.
Oh, I'm very good at not being seen, miss. In fact, I'll try not to be offended by that very question. We should go now.
And we have to undertake a journey unless there's anything Gear needs to do.
So, since Gear has been relieved of his duty of bear cub watching, he is sitting along the bank of this kind of shallow, natural kind of spring that's coming out of the top of this mountain. And the various wildlife that is kind of manifesting in this pond, in this kind of little valley of these bear cubs. And he's sitting there cross-legged, just listening to the world around him. In the distance, he can hear the voices of his friends as they kind of banter back and forth. He can hear the wind cut through this kind of bowl in the mountain. What he can also hear is something far to the north. And every time he hears it, it sends shivers down his spine. It's this grating, grinding sound. This slow, repetitive, methodic dragging of rock across iron, as if something's being sharpened. And he sits there and he opens his eyes. And even though he's a distance away from all of you, he lets slip one small phrase from his lips. He says, "Be safe." And the wind picks it up and kind of whips it through this valley. And as it rushes over all of you, you feel the goosebumps begin to spread down your shoulders and your arms, and the hairs kind of stand on end. Not unnervingly, but cautious.
And Tahiri takes notice and turns to look at Gear.
And he sits there, and you guys notice that you are short 3 small bear cubs as they are paddling kind of through the deep snow. Every once in a while, they'll find a little pothole, and you'll see one of them disappear for a brief second before it resurfaces, continues on.
Are they following Gear? Because remember, Tahiri can see him.
They are kind of moving up this little embankment towards the beginning of this kind of babbling spring of water.
Tahiri stands up and follows, with a puzzled look on her face to the...
And as he's still kind of cross-legged sitting there trying to ignore this grating noise, the 3 bear cubs kind of set down in the snow next to him, and he just sits, eyes closed.
And Tahiri comes over and sits down on the other side of the bears. She doesn't hear what Gear's hearing, though.
What does Gear see when he looks at her? What is her representation in this world?
He sees... Tahiri has a very grounded spirit. She is very present where she is.
I get the feeling, just from what little I know of her, that, correct me if I'm wrong, but Gear would be sitting there, and as he opens his eyes, he would see this beautiful kind of ancient tortoise, very set, very wizened from age, very steady.
Only if a person changes through their life. I'm not sure that sort of totem is the kind of thing that would change, so I'm not sure that would be...
Now, that would just be what her spirit manifests as.
currently.
or how Gear sees it, how he sees that sensation. Right?
Like when he saw tincture manifested as a swarm of rats.
Mm-hmm. And that's probably close enough.
Does she say anything to him?
No, she doesn't want to interrupt.
That's refreshing for him.
It would probably take a long while, kind of him listening to Bill and to Caradwin kind of packing up their belongings, the rustling of pelts and bed rolls before he would speak up to this woman sitting across from him. And he would say, "Are you going to go with them?"
I think so for now.
"No. You must be safe to the north. I hear something there. I don't know what it is, but it seems dangerous."
Are you going with them?
"I will always be with them." Gear looks over at the kind of white mane that is now serving as kind of they've slung the furs and everything over it, kind of like a sawhorse. And the kind of beautiful owl that's head is split around, nestled in his own feathers, kind of shutting its eyes in the trees.
And the little bear that Caradwin is like setting in her pack to like
And it's
carry.
sitting there so restlessly, and it goes to move, and the huge white head comes over, and it goes,
Oh, they grow up so fast.
Kira said that you are one who tries to be everywhere but where you are.
"I suppose that's accurate."
Why is that?
My form, it no longer has any meaning to me. I was given the name of White Mane by my people. To be a White Mane is to be a protector. I can do that from here.
How do you protect where you are not?
What makes you think I am not?
Mission number 3, get Gear's body back.
Given what Bill did to it, that's going to be fairly challenging.
Yeah.
I spread it out about a half an acre out of a blanket in the snow.
When Tahiri looks at Gear, can she see his spiritual manifestation, or is she seeing him as if he were a person?
Both.
Well, I had thought she saw him as a person. But I'm not sure that would be true. Well, except she recognized the description when Caradwin, I think it was Caradwin who was, describing him, and she said, "Yep, that's him."
Yeah.
So I think she sees him as a person.
It's possible
Maybe
she sees
kind
him
of
as
halfway
both.
in between.
Yeah.
Yeah, perhaps.
Like that
So-
double exposure sort of thing where you see two things at once. Yeah.
What she would see is, and that's a perfect analogy because it's rough around the image. You can get this general shape of Gear, but the central portion of him is the most that you can see. Everything towards the edges kind of fades almost smokily, and there's this mixture of a human man sitting there and this kind of amorphous orb of spiritual energy that seems to kind of diminish. And it's almost as in complete opposite form as the spirits, where their energy continues to grow and grow. His continues to shrink as he leaves a piece of it everywhere he goes.
Yeah, that's her concern about him being everywhere but where he is.
And Gear's still kind of sitting there. He's opened his eyes at this point, but he looks down at the small bear cubs that are now dipping into the water, trying to do as the otter had done before and swim down and grab things off of the bottom of the stream.
And the otter's there, playing with them.
He smiles.
But by the way, Tahiri is not looking at Gear. She's listening to him.
Yeah.
She's a fast study.
So she would hear this kind of resolute belief in his voice, and it's not so much just pure listening, but there's this feeling that comes with it. There's this resolute feeling that she gets that he is committed to these words as they're spoken. And he says, "It should only take me a few days. These cubs are young and impressionable. And Kira seems to have taken a liking to them. If the others do get in trouble, I will know. I have
Yes.
eyes and wings and teeth. Very close."
As you will. And she stands up and goes back to the party.
So if I'm not mistaken, mechanics wise, Austin, you just had your character make a vow from the spirit world?
Is this our
Ooh.
first vow in like 10 episodes?
Well, there's that. There's that whole side story that we can get to as well. But to have done it from beyond the grave,
Yeah.
there's no limits to roleplay, people. There are no limits to roleplay.
I'm still stuck on this one thing that you said that I don't quite understand. You said it's mechanics?
Yeah.
People who tinker with tools and things.
Yes, people
Do
who
you
fix your
mean
car.
tears?
That's all I meant. Yeah,
You mean
tears. There were lots
sadness?
of tears here too. Yeah. But anyway, I just wanted to throw that in there. It just seems like you just made a vow from beyond the grave.
I will have to add that to my list. And so, as his allies have kind of started to get ready, Gear kind of stands up from his spot in the snow and begins to kind of descend this small knoll down into the kind of flat area where they have made camp. And he moves over next to the white mane and the small silver bear cub, and as it kind of turns to look up in his direction, he just places a hand gently on its head and runs it through the thick fur on the back of its neck. And there's a silver cross that begins to form on Gear's chest as he is running his hand through this thing's fur. And as he pulls his hand back away from it, go now. Run fast. And he looks, and both of them look at Caradwin. And pay attention to that one. And you guys would see Gear would be moving away, but you would see both the white mane and the small silver bear cub kind of looking off into the trees.
Gear. Jared will call out.
Gear stops a moment and smiles.
Be careful and try to come back.
Gear still hasn't turned around, continues walking in the trees, and as you're sitting there, you feel a small boom against your leg as there's a small bear cub that's like headbutting you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she'll
And-
pet them on the head.
In an overly loud voice, Bill turns and speaks into the forest. He can't be here, miss. If he were that close, I'd smell him. Waiting to see
All of
if
a
anything
sudden-
comes flying out of the forest.
All of a sudden, Bill's boot is weirdly wet.
All of a sudden, he's pants.
Do you notice a large wolf standing next to you?
One leg cocked. Yeah, yeah. Well, that'll be nice and warm for about 10 minutes.
You'll lose a toe that way.
There's nothing worse than wet socks.
No. Oh, that'll kill you. But yes. So I guess we start
But-
our journey.
Yeah, we make good time according
I was
to
gonna
the
say, that
strong
was
hit
like-
I got.
Considerable length of time ago, so long ago we have to blow the dust off of it. A journey was undertaken and a strong hit occurred. So-
Jaredwin knows these mountains.
Yeah, and I think the storm probably kind of backed off a little bit. We've got a bit more view now, a bit more range. You're taking us along these hunting trails, you know, like the back of your hand.
Yeah, they're trickier to navigate, especially with a group of individuals, but
Yeah.
she can do it. It's just slow in the way that it's like she's got to make sure everyone's following in line. Like, okay, there's one,
Well, yeah,
two.
and I'm
Like-
assuming like Brom would
Head
know
count.
this area too, right? I mean,
Mhm.
horses go home by themselves. That's the best part with horses.
Yeah, Brom.
As my
would know.
my grandfather found out, he used to have to just come out of the bar and fall on his horse. If he could get out to the horse would take him home, and my grandmother would take him off the horse and into the house.
Brom is the MVP.
Yeah.
I'm
absolutely.
going to say this
Brom
every
is the
episode.
hero. He's
Yeah.
the hero of the whole adventure.
This is Brom's story.
It's his hero's journey. He's Bilbo. Let's just face it.
So as Bilbo leads us back home.
We've got. Let's see. We're going home with Tahiri's with us. We've got a giant S wolf, an owl, a silver bear cub,
Yes.
a bill,
Yep.
A feet, a
A feet.
brom,
Feet.
a
Yes.
a
strong
gaggle
paw.
of crows.
Yeah. Yep.
She's coming back with a zoo.
Yep. The hunter
So,
coming
like-
back with all this live stuff.
It's like
I've
that
changed my ways.
movie. We
I'm
bought
a
a
vegan.
zoo. Like,
Yeah.
look.
I'm a vegan now. That's. But, I guess. I mean, the day passes
Yeah.
when we crest that. I mean, actually, before we get to that crest, there's always the narrative crest in these stories where you come over the hill and see your home.
Hmm.
As we're climbing up that hill, before we get to that crest, where is Caradwin mentally?
Anxious. Um, she misses her family and misses home like anyone could. It's just she's also anxious because she knows, kind of like she said in her internal monologue at the beginning, she knows how this is going to end. She doesn't want it to, but she knows what the options are going to be and what she's going to choose ultimately.
Mhm.
And she isn't sure she's ready for that, but it's happening. And she kind of she debates on like saying we should camp before we get there and like pulling it out, but she knows
Uh-huh.
that depending on what's going on. So she will so she'll, as they kind of Kira soon dies at the hands of Spirit Gear. We don't know how, but it happened. There were many bear tracks.
The first thing Gear does is teach the bear cubs how to hunt aerial foes.
But yeah, so she'll kind of help get everybody cresting this mountain. And Frostmouth isn't very different looking from any of the other steadings within the circle itself. There's a lot more pit houses this far into the mountains. There's a lot less livestock. It's much more rocky and mainly hunting grounds. And one of the trade routes between the wastes and Kinheim. So just, it's a stopping point kind of, and they hunt and they sell things. So there's less life, but there's still people milling around, and there's horses that look a lot like Brom, and just even from where we are on the ridge, every now and then you'll see the same red hair that Caradwin has, just like streaking along at any age, anywhere. Like they're there. You can tell it's immediate. It's like, oh, that's one of them. You don't know how they're related to her, but it's something it's there. And
I'm gonna say this in
definitely-
character, but Bill does not say it. Oh, I didn't realize you were all inbreds.
the redhead gene in a family can be very strong. It may be a recessive gene, but it can be very strong.
Yep.
And so she'll kind of stand there watching as people move around, and from what she can tell, it doesn't look like anything has besieged the
Mhm.
setting yet, which is good and bad because she's not sure what that means.
Right.
And she's just kind of trying to buy time.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've got an idea.
So I wonder why the call went out then.
Well, I could find a bit out about that as well. I'll send our
Because-
friend Feet in.
I was thinking that the call went out that early because they would need days to get there from the main paths.
Mhm.
They weren't expecting Caradwin to be coming back and to go through the mountains. They would think she'd still
Yeah.
do the safe thing.
Yeah.
But
Well,
she's not.
I can send our feet in and he can find out all kinds of things for us. And that gives us a couple of hours. I was wondering, miss, are we anywhere near where you found them eggs? Only there's an otter that was going to help us find them, and I don't see her around none.
I think those were over on that ridge over there.
Well, then, little fella.
Over on which ridge? That ridge up there?
No, the one behind that one.
Ah, and Tahiri lets out a whistle, and you see a large hawk head over that direction.
Well, that is handy. So, you're thinking you want to send feet in before us?
Oh, I do very much, miss. He's very, very good at gathering information. And he's even more good at finding out what people don't want him to know. Which one's your house, then? Which one's that knob end in? I'm sorry, your husband?
Never need to call him that. And she'll kind of like survey like the pit houses. That one over there.
Right, you seen that one, feet? Off you go. Go find me a story to tell that little shit when I show up. One that no one but him should know. And feet scurries off. And it's been so long that I actually have to look at the asset sheet to see how this exactly works. Oh, I do have face
Rolling
danger plus
dice in a
shadows.
role-playing game?
All right,
No.
Robin, you've convinced me. I'll play Baden.
Face danger with shadow.
I put it up to everybody. I put it up to anybody who wanted.
And everybody went. Give me 3 adjectives for Vaden. Besides asshole.
Besides douche waffle. Darn, that was my main one. I would say
Would he be like a tyrant?
yes. He would be he's a very charismatic tyrant. He can get people on his side easily. And he is able to
Manipulative prick is how you described him in the wiki.
Yeah, I think that's the words I use. He's very charismatic in a fashion, especially to people who are willing to trust him. But Caradwin can see through that by now because she spent so much time with him, like from a younger age, and kind of went through stages of knowing him.
So he's manipulative, abusive, all around
manipulative,
bad guy.
kind of power hungry feels really like a strong term, but that's kind of like the idea. Is like he's
a little more intelligent than that.
Authority. He wants to be in control.
He's a strong man, like one of those sort of typical sort of Mussolini sort of. I hesitate to use the word fascist because it's like 3,000 years too early, but
yeah. And I wouldn't say he's like extreme to the point of like he doesn't like he's not murderous. It's just he's very self intentioned.
He's dangerous because he's smart, charismatic. He knows how to get his way through the channels.
Yes, he knows how to work the system in his favor. And Caradwin doesn't take any of his shit, and that's why they don't get along. So
I already did the roll, so as it becomes appropriate as we get closer.
Yeah, and
I
Caradwin
rolled it twice because I get to re-roll, so and I use feet to gather the information. So.
And Caradwin will kind of take some time thinking about the best way to approach this. And she'll kind of take a deep, like, steadying breath, pat Brom on the head. Go ahead. And he'll go forward into the steading ahead of us.
Oh, not going to wait for feet to come back?
He'll start the way once about an hour maybe has passed.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, so there's time, yeah. So I guess, yeah, he meets us on the way back. As we're heading down the road, he just kind of scatters down a tree and drops on Bill, which would normally freak people out, but he's used to it. So,
because we're climbing down a mountain, so it's going to take a while. But
absolutely.
Brom can go ahead.
And I look into his eyes, and what do I see? What is his greatest fear?
I'm not taking this one.
Yeah, he's your virtual husband. You tell us.
I have an idea, but
I know Caradwin has theories.
I think Austin should do it. His idea.
Yeah, Austin just said he had an idea. Let's hear it.
Yeah, Austin had an idea. I just have theories.
We're good at saying that's a good idea, but I have another one. So go ahead, throw it out.
So feel free to stop me at any time. When Feet looks into Bill's eyes, there's a scene that's played out from it's almost as if you're a first person in this scene from Vaden's point of view, as you look and you see this young, strong, handsome man laid out against just the darkness. And you can tell it's a man, but it almost looks as he's carved out of stone. The strong traitor, the messy hair. You're not able to tell which color it is because his entire body is encased in iron. And there's a person crouching over him. Her fiery red hair now cut short. But when she spins to look at him, the fire in her eyes, the pure rage. She stands up to her full height, and more people begin to materialize out of the darkness at her side, all with crimson hair, as the entire town begins this hemispherical, all of them looking in on him. No longer the predator, now the prey surrounded.
Yep, that was one of her theories.
I got some good news and some bad news, miss.
Yes?
The bad news is I don't think we want to find your brother anytime soon. The good news is you got nothing to fear from your husband. And the really bad news combined with that first bit of bad news, so I think I know where all that iron went as well. And I don't think it's in the Wyvern. It's your brother, miss.
What do you mean?
What were you told?
I weren't told. I seen it with, well, it might as well have been with my own two eyes.
Are you a seer, a diviner?
He has
Nope,
a cockroach.
But this here giant cockroach is real good at seeing things in other people's heads.
In other people's heads?
That's right, miss. You know what? Thank you
So
very
this
much
is something...
for clearing that. Thank you very much for clearing that up. This is just his fear. But he done it. That's what I saw. He's afraid people will find out
what?
he done. You know them metal men, miss? The ones we keep running into?
Intimately, yes.
When you seen the one what done that to you, were there a person inside it?
Not that I could tell. I didn't really have time to figure it out.
Because the one I saw in your husband's head did have someone in it. And I'm pretty sure it were your brother, miss.
That's from your face. Sorry.
Sorry.
Now,
And
it's
without
not-
saying anything, she walks down towards the city.
Miss, one more thing before you go in there, all guns a blazing, whatever guns are, and whatever blazing is, you know what I mean. Before you go in there, all arrows are flying. There's one more thing you ought to know. His biggest fear. And Bill lies. His biggest fear is you coming back.
And she'll turn and look at him.
We don't have to fight him, miss. We can just expose him for the shit he is.
Let's go, Bill. And she'll keep going. And as we reach the front of the entrance to this steading, Brahm is still at the entrance with a small gaggle of redheaded children from all ages, up like teenager to young child, like so like vibrating with happiness that he's back. Obviously knows who he is. The horse is just like, okay.
The legendary Brahm has returned.
He's on his fifth apple.
I know. He's living his best life.
Yeah.
And then when Caradwin and Bill and Tahiri kind of crest the hill with the the white mane, and the red crest, the menagerie behind them, it didn't seem like the steading was very particularly loud. But it goes dead once they see her. Except the youngest of the children, really young, don't understand it, and so they get really excited and run towards her, as kids who grew up with her did. But everyone else who is around kind of just stops.
And that silence tells me this might be a good idea, a good place to take a 15-minute break. And even though we've been leading towards this for 3 weeks, I think all four of us just realized we don't know what's going to happen next.
We'll just have to make it up as we go.
Yes.
Although I will describe something.
Oh yes, please send us out on a
Give us a mental picture.
on a Karis image. Sorry, pardon. I pronounced your name right.
So, the sharp cry of a hawk pierces through, and it comes flying fast. And a swarm of crows, in real life, not just vision, comes out over the town, heading out from that direction, also flying very fast and sounding the alarm.
Whew. Because we didn't have enough stress on the table. We'll just add that. And then we will take 15 minutes to get a breath in, and we will figure out exactly what happens next. There's still at least half of a besieging army out there unaccounted for, so who knows how bad this will get in the next hour and a half or so. We will see you all in 15 minutes and find out then. Thanks for joining us. See you in a bit. Well, at least this week the technical glitch happened during halftime. That was convenient, and now we are back. Thank you all for hanging out for that 17-minute, 15-minute break. I appreciate the extra 2 minutes. Strangely enough, we had a whole 15 minutes and we didn't plan nothing. So...
Do we ever?
We usually don't.
We don't. It was really just an excuse to go and get more coffee on my part. But anyway... So here we are. As we, I think it's fair to say this is going to be Robin telling us what happens here, because this is Caradwin's homecoming. So as we get close enough for this red-headed mass of people to see us, how does the reaction start? And remember, it's not just you. It's you and this crazed old man, a gigantic wolf who's the size of a horse, an owl that's the size of an eagle, a silver bear cub curled up in your saddle with you, a wise woman
I'm not in the
traveling with
saddle.
us. But anyway, you know what I mean. It's
I know
all
what you
there. This
Yeah.
menagerie.
Well, it goes quiet first, and there's a few excited squeals from like one of her nieces or nephews, and then as there's like muttering and there's like talking and people start to move around again, there's that peal of or that cry of the hawk from above that Karis described. And Caradwin will look in that direction, or the direction they're going, and see what's going on there.
The direction they're going or the direction they're flying from?
Was that the hawk that Tahiri sent out?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yes, then the direction they came from.
And it appears, you don't see anything at first. But then something sort of niggles at your attention. And you aren't sure what that is. And that almost seems like the hillside is moving. And it sort of resolves into the, what did we call it earlier? The
Savage Horde?
Savage Horde, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love it when Austin
Hey,
does
Gear,
that.
you're gonna miss the fight again.
Yeah, I'm missing another fight. It's all right. I have claws and talons. I'll be fine.
You've got a supplementary person. So, as Caradwin is focusing on that and noticing that, the people are starting to kind of like talk more, and a few people are trying to address Caradwin, but she's not paying attention because she's now watching that, and it's kind of not on the
people
other
with
side.
her are also watching that. We're all, they're muttering
Yeah.
around about us, and we're looking past them.
And yeah, as people are trying to get her attention and like talking, and like it starts low and quiet, and then slowly grows as more people are like trying to like shooting questions at Caradwin from all sides of all different topics. Like it seems mundane to like more serious things of like accusations that sound more like what we've heard Baden say, or heard from people saying.
And Tahiri steps in front of someone and says, excuse me, I think you have other problems right now.
And that's when they finally, it's like they had blinders, and then they finally are like, oh shit, yeah. Like, we weren't expecting you. We were expecting them. And so it's the horde. Is there any sign of the revenants or the wyvern that Carradine can see?
I wouldn't think so yet. I mean, because they're
Yeah.
coming at a distance, and it's
At a
going to be
distance,
hard to
done.
distinguish.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to distinguish individuals.
And Carradine is internally doing some mental math. Okay, they're moving this fast.
And
yeah.
the hawk comes back, and Tahiri puts up her arm, which is gauntleted, for it to catch the hawk. Except the hawk doesn't land. The hawk circles, and then flies that way. And Tahiri turns and looks, and she reaches over to tap whoever's next to her, whether it's Bill, Carradine, whoever's next to her. And on the hills, so you've got Frostmouth, and you've got the horde coming from one direction, and you're seeing a beacon fire go up from one of the peaks on the opposite side, and then another beacon fire goes up, and then another beacon fire goes up. 4, so a total of 4 beacon fires. It's like, are the people here already, the ones that we're mustering?
The beacons are lit. Frostmouth calls for aid.
They wouldn't be. Not normally.
Not at this speed.
No. We made it fast. We were making good time.
You were
because they were still
4
starting
well-traveled people.
We weren't an army. So unless they already had people there, they wouldn't be there. And making snap decisions as she goes, thinking of it, she will look to just anyone, not necessarily trying not to look at anyone who's directly her family, because that's awkward. That's for later. Get the women and children somewhere safe, or get the young, especially, somewhere safe. Where's Vaden?
We're safe. We're safe. Wait,
Are
what?
you? Are you safe?
No, but where?
Ain't there no caves in these mountains round here?
Yeah, all right.
Ain't there no draws, no places where no one knows but you lot?
And
Get somewhere
runs off.
safe.
You would, I'm
then
sure
she'll,
as a hunter, you would know the name of like 10 places that would be hard to find in this
Yeah,
area.
she'll be like pointing off, places and like pointing people somewhere, and like as she's doing that, walking through to find where Vaden has pulled himself up, or where he's going.
You lot
And as
don't
you
want to
get-
be between the hammer and the anvil. Get out, out, go, go, go.
And as you get further in, I mean, it's clear they actually were prepared.
Yes.
And so there are people organizing and doing that. Just because one person was startled and looking at you and not cognitively processing.
Yeah, and luckily that's a relief for her on that side. Just like, you got it, you're good. But yeah, so she's ignoring anybody who's trying to stop her or going through. She's going to find Vaden. She needs answers before all of this goes down.
Yeah, Bill, in that crossing of the village, is staying on his horse and is physically interposing himself as anybody tries to get close and tries to deal with her. So yeah, he's basically blocking all the way across.
They've got bigger problems than one hunter that left.
Yeah.
So luckily she doesn't feel like her life is in danger at this moment.
That answers the question. I was going to say, should we face danger on the way across? But I don't think we're not.
I don't think they'd worry about that.
We're not their problem. So yes.
So you're heading beeline for where?
She assumes
Where's Vaden? Where's Vaden? Everybody's just like,
Yeah.
So you're just
Yeah.
following
She's scary.
fingers
Yeah.
until you kind of reach this rather large, well-insulated tent, and you rip back the flap, and you can see an older man now, a little bit more withered than the last time you saw him. The kind of balding patch on his head now had eaten further away, kind of into the remaining hair. And there is a young woman at his side as he is kind of sealing up a letter. And as he hands it to her, he says, "Take this quickly. Somebody is here to return one of my possessions." As he looks to past Caradwin to Bill. And the young woman clutches the letter to her chest and goes to push past you guys out into the snow.
No, Carrie will let her go.
Yep.
She doesn't want to fight with her.
And you see as he kind of sits back and his arms kind of open up, resting on the chair, and you can see this kind of frail older man spreading himself out, making himself look larger.
Like he's still holding on to the glory days when he was young, and powerful, and yeah. What have you done? Yeah.
And you can see the tired man sits there. You always did have the worst time. And look.
What have you done?
I'm trying to negotiate the safety of our home.
With who?
Did you not see the army coming over the hill?
I saw the horde. You can't negotiate with them.
We could have. Our only bargaining chip has been removed.
The iron. Why were you collecting iron?
He leans forward and kind of puts his elbow on this makeshift desk and leans into it, looking at you. You're so beautiful when you're angry.
Why?
Like my own mote of flame upon the ice itself.
I'm not here for your bullshit. Why were you collecting iron? What did you know?
I knew that nobody would be safe here if I told her no.
So you did. It's because of you.
These are my people.
No, these are my people. You are a usurper, a snake.
I am the one that kept them safe, while you ran off and toyed with your own freedom. You abandoned these people. And look, you failed, as I told you you would. And here you are, back on my doorstep.
You caused that accident with Kadal. You're working with Callista.
Callista has not bothered us since I gave her Kadal.
So then why the Horde? What have you done?
It must be a show of force. We were told we would be safe if we collected the iron for them. And now it's gone.
The men of metal. The ones you said didn't exist when I came back from the wastes and said they had attacked me.
What did you want me to do? You know they all hang on your every word. What could I have done if they were all spouting nonsense about a man of metal?
They could have been well prepared. We could have been ready instead of leaving them in ignorance.
He promised me he would never enter this circle.
Who?
Your metal man. And I could keep all these beautiful people in ignorance.
And you trusted him? You believed him? And if you did, you're far stupider than I ever imagined you could be.
What would you have done?
I wouldn't have made a deal with Callista. I wouldn't have made a deal with someone trying to destroy the world as it is understood. I would have asked questions. I wouldn't have assumed I knew it was best.
You're too late.
So what, you're just gonna hide here? Die like a coward?
I just sent a letter to them. If she makes it there safely, we may have a small reprieve. They may
Why?
buy us some time to find the iron.
Why would they listen to you? How do you know they don't already have the iron?
And you can see his eyes kind of widen. He didn't think of that.
They're iron collectors. You don't think they don't have a way to find it? They don't need you. They don't need any of us.
And you can see he slams his hands on the table and throws everything off of it. No! She would not betray me like that. She would not go back on her word.
Why? Why would she not betray you? Because you sweet-talked her into thinking you were some benevolent caretaker? She's not like anyone else here. She's not like anyone you've ever encountered. You fell into her hands, not the other way around.
And you can see now he again leans back in his chair, and there's a small, kind of unstable smile that forms across his face as he sinks into this kind of resignation. And he holds his hand out to you. And if this is our last day, come, let me celebrate it as your husband.
You know we have never celebrated anything together. Why would now be different?
And he leans forward, and you can see as his lips pull back these ancient gray and yellow teeth, and the spittle that flies out when he says, I said come.
And she doesn't move.
Bill, however, leans in way too close, like overlapping nose kind of close. You know that Ord's not here for these people. It's here just for you. So you give me one good reason why I shouldn't just throw you over the fence and save all these nice people the rest of the trouble for their day. One reason in all your life.
There's this kind of nasty, you can see now whether it's the kind of senility that's been building up or just the pressure that's put on him, but a little bit of his true kind of inner self begins to seep out of the cracks that are starting to form. And he looks at Bill and he says, "You have something that's mine. I've counted every freckle on her body, and I want her back. She belongs to me."
Well, here, you can have this instead, and I punch him right in the eyes with that big brass knuckle.
And Caradwin saw it coming and said nothing.
I had to make this guy as punchable as possible.
Yep, absolutely.
Yep.
There's no question where that was going.
That was built. I mean, that was built up from the first time we heard about it.
Yeah. So yeah,
He's been earning this.
Yeah.
Karma's a bitch, you know.
Miss Caradwin, if you'd be so kind as to help me take out the trash. And I grab a leg.
And
What are the-
Tahiri touches Caradwin's arm and leans in to whisper into her ear. What?
What are the chances that he is not completely unconscious
Not
from that hit?
completely unconscious. He's probably
he's-
likely that he's not
he's
completely
definitely-
unconscious.
Bloodied, but is
Yeah,
he?
he's knocked on his ass. I'd say he's still aware.
I'm pretty-
He's
I'm-
probably
yeah, I
not
wasn't
fight
thinking he'd
ready,
outcome.
but he's probably still aware. Yeah.
And so as Bill, you reach down to grab a leg, and Cared, when you come by, his last little bit of strength, he throws his arms around you and presses his mouth to yours. This nasty kind of bloodied face as he tries to kind of steal a kiss from you.
Except she's not looking towards him.
Yep, she turns halfway to talk to Tahiri, and as he does this, she will deck him off the side of his head with nothing but her fist.
And the whole chair goes, and now he's unconscious.
And she will she'll grab at his shirt and pull down part of his sleeve. There's a tattoo right here that's of kind of interlocking circles. It's their typical marriage tattoo. She's alluded to this before. And she pulls out the same knife that she used to cut her hair and just quickly slices it across the tattoo, puts the sleeve back up. She's not trying to kill him, she's just basically
She's just signing divorce papers.
yeah, pretty much
Yeah.
basically. And then gets up to leave, and as she and Bill are going to leave, she'll fire an arrow right between his legs, right by his head, and right between some of his fingers. Not hitting him, warning shots.
Yeah.
And then she'll leave.
Dunk, dunk. And out the door.
Is Bill following out too?
Absolutely. Yeah. Just turn to look at him unconscious on the floor.
And
Walk up.
coming out, the mountains behind where the signal fires were are starting to move too. However, the original one was dark, black, browns, all that. These are more colorful as they are starting to move. And sort of the middle one on that side, you can actually see and tell what's there because they're a bit
Miss, you don't have to be no blacksmith to know it's not a good place to be between an hammer and an anvil. We got to get these people the hell into hiding.
And as has been said, they already had a contingency plan. They were just basically waiting for orders to go. And she'll look around at the people kind of as they're preparing. Go now.
You got the civilians going. However, you also have the people who are arming up, the hunters, the warriors, and all that who are arming up.
It's like copy
And
paste.
it looks like they're planning to be
red-headed archers.
like they're planning to be between the hammer and the anvil.
And she'll kind of look at them. You too, go.
They don't seem to be listening to you. They are listening to their sergeants who are getting them, or whatever their leaders are, or leaders that are getting them ready and into position. And
one of which you just knocked unconscious.
Bill just
with inside,
up.
so they didn't see that.
Yep.
Bill sidles up to one of the officers from behind and just leans in behind him and says, "Now, it'd be right terrible if your family ran into an awful series of accidents, now wouldn't it, officer? I know exactly which caves are going, and ain't you nor nobody else can stop me from doing what I'm going to do, you little
Bill.
shit. Listen to the lady.
Those things will not stop because you shoot at them. So if you value anything you care about, you will follow the civilians.
And what do you think you're gonna do?
I'm going to try to do the best thing for this setting.
Well, and that's what we're doing too. Get out of my way. We're busy.
Do you know what you're going up against? Has he told you anything? Those aren't people.
He's told me it's ugly.
That's an understatement. You will die, and it will be painful, and it will be agonizing, and then you will be taken as a part of the horde, and you will be part of it, and you will destroy everything. So, go.
And what are you going to do?
I'm going to try to make it as easy as possible for that horde to get what it wants, so it can leave. And do you know what it wants?
What do you think it wants?
It wants its unfinished business done. And that's
and
not
what
you.
Do you think that is?
I think it is a process. It is a ritual that was started years ago. A deal that was started years ago between an ignorant, stupid man and a very powerful woman. And a bunch of iron collectors who won't give a shit about this setting or anything anyone does for it unless they get what they want.
And one of the hunters came back and said that Chillwater is no more. If we don't do anything, that's what we're going to be like too.
If
we
it's
fight.
no more, that's because they stood and fought.
I
The lady's
know.
trying to be nice. She's trying to tell you they're not here for you.
I know that we are stupid when it comes to rituals and spirits and everything to do with that nature, and that is what all of that is. So unless you can do something ritualistic and magical, I don't think you're going to do anything. Tell me right now if you have that ability, in which case you're free to try.
And he's no longer looking at you. He's looking past you because he's just caught sight of the hills on the other side. Well. And he looks around back at that one, and he looks back at that one. And it's retreat. We are surrounded. This is a fight to the death.
Go and
Get into
protect
hiding.
your
Get
family,
into
you
safety.
idiot.
Well, the families are heading off into the hills, but
Unless the evacuation process has drastically changed in the few weeks I've been gone, they are in that direction, going under the mountain.
yeah, the mountains that now have colorful people coming down them, some of them very, very large.
Yeah. Which means you need to go under them. Now. Let's see if I can.
What's the likelihood that he's persuaded?
1 second, I'm doing a move.
Ooh, it's those mechanics.
I know.
I had to just read all my assets because
Forgot. It's been a while, right?
Ooh, what's
Compel.
what's a weak hit on compel?
They do what you want, but ask something of you in return.
Tahiri steps forward and puts her hand on the man's arm and says, and then with her other hand points at the ones that he had just become aware of. Those are not the threat. Go with your plan. Those are not the threat. Go. And that little extra is enough to get them off in there.
If those aren't a threat,
You didn't
who
tell
are
me
they?
you had allies.
Who are they?
Well, those are clearly the giants. I can't tell. My eyesight isn't good enough to tell who the others are yet.
Well,
But they appear to be here in force. If they're responding to the same thing the trolls sent me, that caused the trolls to send me.
the beacons.
Well, there's signal fires clearly, but I don't know what they're signaling.
They're signaling them. Bill, you remember that look of that, right? That's Amala.
We better not just stand here.
Yeah.
On that topic, you're right. We ain't gonna be no help with that lot and that lot. The three of us ain't gonna make no difference. However, it do make one hell of a distraction. About them wyverns. I bet they're not here in this town. I bet you they're way up there in them mountains somewheres over there.
That's where they like to roost.
Well, to speak as my overeducated mother once did, how about we head in that direction post-haste?
Yeah. If the Horde really is after just Vadin, they won't care about the others, and if they aren't, it'll take them a long time to find the entrance.
Well,
So
I
let's
think
go.
that Horde's about to have much bigger problems than it thought it was going to have today. That's all I'm going to say. Looking over at the army of the ancients
Giants
coming
and
down
other
the hill,
whatnot.
and yeah,
of Firstborn.
The
the
bric-a-brac.
firstborn, yes, the people who have nothing
The
left to lose
bric-a-brac.
because their age is coming to an end. Wow. So, with that,
So we head towards the north.
Yes. Unless it is directly where the Horde is coming from, in which case we don't.
Well, okay, so we got the Horde coming from that way.
Okay.
if you want to head up into the highest peak, there's over almost to that direction is one of the signal fires.
Yeah, that would probably be the best place to get a vantage point.
Yeah.
And
in
if I
that
remember
direction.
correctly, on our map, the red X is where the shaman Manja was from.
Anja. From the Onikiri circle.
Yeah. So I remembered that from my notes the other day. But yeah, that sounds like
I
the
need to
best
go
way
and
to
read
go.
those notes because my first thought was, would I not here for that episode? But that doesn't make any sense.
No, you were. It was when
Anja was the
he helped-
shaman, that helped Gear get down from his...
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
from his perch.
from his
His branch.
Yeah.
That's one way to put it. Oh,
Yeah.
exhausting.
and Caradwin doesn't even look back at where Vaden is or is not conscious in that
Yeah.
tent. She doesn't care. She just goes towards one of the signal fires up towards there. Try getting vantage points, try to find something.
So as
What
we're
are
moving
these-
in that
What are these
direction,
huts made of? Just before we leave this town, they're like thatched
Well,
roofs and mud
They're
huts.
pit
sort of
houses,
thing?
so
Pit
they're
house?
so they're like partially in the ground, partially
Yeah.
made of like thatch and wood and probably lots of
I-
like leather.
Yes, they're flammable.
Yeah, I
Yes.
light the thatch on fire before I walk away. Absolutely.
oh good. Yep, we take care of another circle. We'll be the bane of Frostmouth now too.
Luckily, almost all the people in Frostmouth are not in these
Yes,
buildings.
the only one left
This
in there
is
deserves to
true.
die, and he's why I'm burning it down. And it's about to get burned down anyway, so they're about to wreck my evidence. So it's perfect. And then I will
but yeah,
follow-
Caradwin's not even looking back. She's just going.
You guys get in so
So-
much trouble without me.
Oh, like Gear wouldn't
Like,
have done the
'cause you were the
same
calming
thing.
influence.
Yeah, Gear was the stabilizing.
Like Gear
influence
wouldn't
of
have
the
been there
party.
with Bill, pounding him into the dirt.
See, that's where you're wrong. Gear would not have done the talking thing.
No,
He would have got rip.
I just would have got offended and ripped his throat out. Yeah. Yeah.
His voice annoyed me.
So as we head out, one of the things that we can see of the force coming down from the signal fire in the northwesterly direction is we can see a lot of how do I describe it? Well, sticks. These people have got. As we get closer, we'll find out they're armed with spears. Rather nasty, jagged ones that have
Like the barbed kind
barbs.
of ones. Yeah.
Yeah, nasty barbed ones. Yeah. And as we get closer, these people have iridescent skin and dark hair, and they're quite stout, but dressed in hides and furs, and they are quite well coordinated. And as they come down there, they're almost coming in a wave. Like,
In spite of the need for speed right now, there's no way. I just stop and stare. Like 6 weeks ago, he didn't believe any of these existed, and now there's an army of like 10 different things that he doesn't. Like they're all too. It's too new. It's too much.
Caradwin wants to get a closer look at the signal fire beacon.
okay, it's still a ways up because they're coming
Mhm.
at us, and a group breaks off to face us as the others kind of split and continue past us.
Hi. Thank you for coming.
Welcome to Frostmouth.
Welcome to Frostmouth. Winter's a bitch. How can we help you?
And it's
May I shoot
currently
you in the
on
ass?
fire in the background.
Isn't
Well,
that
so as they get
Minnesota's
closer-
official state motto? Winter's a bitch.
Yeah.
Well, so as they get closer, I mean, you can see they're wearing like seal skins. I mean, their furs are well adapted to cold and wet. And they're looking. A couple of them are looking at the group. There's 3 of us and a whole bunch of critters, right?
Yes.
Yes.
3 of us and a bunch of critters, and they look kind of warily. Speak your purpose.
I'm trying to help stop things like that horde.
And at that, they disregard you and continue on past.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
So eventually, Karen will just keep moving forward. Like if we're not having a debate with them, it's like cool.
Yeah.
We don't have time for
Just
this.
let them go and do their thing.
The
And
typical.
Harry is sort of looking in sort of awe at these people. You know, just watching them, it's like, wow, cool. Anyways, as they pass, it's like, oh yeah, right, we're supposed to be going this way.
Yeah,
And
no idea
just
who they
think
are. Wish we could ask questions, but we can do that later.
They're
I think-
Tanya.
We
And-
might be
What?
some of the last to ever see that.
You
If-
guys
They're
would
Tanya.
also
They're
Recogn-
sea peoples, northern sea peoples. I'm sorry, go ahead, Austin.
recognize a group of 3 giants all wielding these massive clubs and these huge, long, thick kind of spear-like things, and one specifically that holds 2 large weapons that could probably take out a house in a single swing. This giant who has kind of this rough, grizzled beard that goes down to his chest that you saw as an old friend of Gears. As he continues, his brow furrowed and the resignation on his face as he holds these 2 huge mallets out to either side and is walking forward.
And you recognize the 3 of them, but there's a good 50 or more.
And with them, every couple giants that pass by you, you kind of have to stop for a moment because the ground is shaking under the footfalls of the mammoths that are moving with them.
I'm really glad they're on our side. And Karen just keeps going. We don't have time for chit chat
Yep.
with people that may not survive a fight. Who knows?
So if we make our way further up the hill, I want to check in with Gear. Where's he been watching all of this?
Yeah, has he been watching or has he just been checked out?
Or is he off doing something? Is he off still raising baby bears?
It's very hard because Gear is kind of being pulled in that direction from both the White Mane and the Red Crest. They're kind of pulling on his essence, and he's getting kind of snippets of this as he's going about his business. And as much as he wants to stay here to do this, he also wants to leave, but knows that he won't be much help there at the moment. And so
Every time he feels drawn there.
Yeah.
and it's kind of sad because he's got these 3 beautiful, innocent bear cubs that are looking up at him, and he has to force this smile and pretend like the world is not ending outside of this little bowl in the mountains.
And a harpy eagle comes and sits down and next to him and starts. Well, this is a fine muddle.
And Gear, all of the fake
I suppose
smile
you think
drops.
you know what you're doing.
And
Have you ever
Gears-
been a bear?
Gear looks over at the harpy eagle, who is kind of missing patches of feathers, various kind of bear-shaped patches. And he looks over at this eagle, says, "Can you feel what is happening?"
Kind of, sort of, but not really.
I think this is it. I think this is the
Nah.
end of the
Nah,
firstborn.
not enough pesky spirits.
You don't think so?
Spirit business.
The firstborn.
Not enough of them moving.
No. So, what is this then?
What is what?
You don't feel this?
Nah.
Do you know of the firstborn?
Well, duh. I mean, who do you think I am, anyway?
You don't feel your brothers going off to battle?
Nope. I mean, yeah, those elves are, but... Eh. Elves. Well, I suppose the Vru are, too. Ugh, those go hunting. They're kind of creepy. Have you ever met one of those? Oh.
What if they don't come back?
Then they don't come back. What if you don't come back? And aren't you getting tired of fish? You know, the last time I got tired of fish, I went down, I followed along the river down, and I managed to get far enough away. There's this big sea, sort of, you know, all salty and stuff, and there were these anemone things, you know, all spiky and stuff. And, oh, they were just so delicious. They were marvelous. I love those. I could just gnaw on those forever. I would never get tired of those.
And Gear has finally let kind of this wave of this tide that he's been keeping back finally lets it manifest in his own body language, and now looks down to see the faces of 3 very concerned bear cubs looking up at him as they pick up on it
You're
almost
lunch.
immediately.
Oh, wait, this way. They think you're lunch. Good thing it's dinner time.
They can feel it.
You fuss and worry too much. And she takes off.
And Gear will sit there kind of in silence, corral these small cubs into their den.
And about, well, half hour later or so, a fish just splats down on his head.
That's what he's doing.
When he turns around, actually, there's a voice of an older woman, it sounds like, that says, "She is quite the nuisance, isn't she?"
And Gear turns around to look.
And
Just-
it's a small elderly woman who's kind of just standing there, like as if it's not weird that she just suddenly appeared.
Does he see her as a woman, or does he see her as something else?
He sees her kind of in the same double exposure that Tahiri sees Gear in. He can see the woman, but he can also see the kind of, um, large eyes of an owl.
And Gear says, "The cubs. They can feel it coming. Something big is about to happen."
Yes? Shouldn't you be there with them?
I should be there with them.
Oh, but you can't go looking like that. You're falling to bits. Come with me. And she'll look back at you as she starts walking.
Gear looks down at the small bear cubs and gives them kind of a playful shove. He stands up to his full height and will turn to begin to follow.
Come, come. You must join your friends. Kira's told me a lot about them. She does go on. And she'll just walk.
All true.
I
Flapping off in the distance.
was gonna say, and behind you, just as you step out of the clearing, you hear thump, 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 and turn around. There's 3 fresh fish sitting in front of the burrow.
And he will begin to walk with this owl that he sees.
Yep. And she's just leading him down, kind of along this ravine. And because he's spent so long in shadow, I'm making an assumption here that, or not in shadow, in spirit, I'm assuming he would not notice necessarily that they weren't traveling like an equidistant to how far they walk. I imagine it's kind of a
They're
swift
planeswalking.
pretty
Yeah,
much, yeah.
basically, yeah.
And he arrives in this kind of cavern that's kind of cozy, and there's a fire in the middle. And she looks him up and down. Sit. And goes around to kind of mess around with a few things.
And he'll kind of plop down and very carefully watch as this woman kind of dances around the room.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and she's just kind of flitting around, kind of like, very reminiscent of like a hummingbird, like just like over here, over here, over here, over here, like, and she's just doing stuff, not necessarily talking too much, but every now and then she'll be like, stop moving, or you fidget too much. Just nannying, mothering.
After a few minutes, "I never caught your name."
Well, I never caught yours either.
"My name is Gear."
Gear. My name is Hala.
"Hala. How did you find me?"
I have a penchant for finding wayward spirits. Plus, Kira tends to talk on and on.
I
She
find it
means
very
well.
I find it very strange
What, dear?
that she has not been killed yet.
Oh, killing a puka is very hard.
How would one accomplish such a task?
Oh, my dear. You'll find out eventually, I'm sure. You're industrious. But right now, she's got cubs to take care of instead of you. Drop my pen.
I hope she doesn't teach the cubs to talk.
I wouldn't put it past her, but perhaps they'll be better conversationalists for her. They might teach her a few things. Now, let me see. And she kind of like stands next to you and like, how long have you been like this?
Gear kind of looks down. A few days.
What on earth have you been doing in a few days that has made you degrade so much?
What do you mean, degrade?
Your spirit. Most people who live in a spiritual form have an amount of energy that they have to uphold. You are losing your energy very quickly. So
I was entrusted with something. With a spirit creature. The white mane. And I was assigned by my people to be its protector.
Mm-hmm.
I failed. But
How have you failed?
it was taken from my forest. By men of metal.
But I'm assuming you found it again.
I did.
Then you didn't fail.
I've also found a few more.
A collector.
Some have called me a shepherd.
Good observation. And so why are you not with your herd?
I try to see through their eyes. Move as they move.
That is why. That is why the degradation. And she kind of flips around to something else. It is dangerous for someone as caring and as open as you to be in this form. You leave pieces of yourself in every place you go. A little bit in your white mane, a little bit in another creature. But you never collect it. So it goes away. And then you disappear. That's something we need to fix.
It shouldn't hurt, should it?
No. It shouldn't.
When I move quickly from one to the other, it feels as if I am pulling the skin from my body. But I must. Sometimes my friends, they get in trouble.
Well, that's the answer, isn't it? You need a new body. And she acts as if that's the most normal thing to say in the world and just keeps moving.
Gear kind of gets a little nervous. I was a bit reckless with my last one.
Oh, all young people are. You want one like the old one, or do you want a new thing?
I'd like my friends to recognize me.
Yes. Old one it is. We can do that. And now, you have to understand. It's going to be a bit awkward at first. It's a ritual long lost time. You're lucky that Kira knows who I am. Otherwise, he might have disappeared within the week.
Hmm. Why would you help me?
Why, of course I help you. You're a wandering spirit in need of guidance. Just like you
Really?
shepherd spirit guardians, I shepherd spirits like you.
Thank you. With my new body, will I be able to move with the spirits?
There are ways. You can learn to do that without risking any part of your consciousness or your form. I can show you a few. It will take time, but hopefully we can get you back to your friends as they need you. Here's training with Master Yoda.
Yeah. I was just going to say training montage.
Gear sits and begins to kind of subconsciously, as he is speaking aloud to this person, this spirit, he closes his eyes and he begins to try and really listen to what they have to say.
Yeah, and if she feels that he starts drifting back to other places, she'll like whack him.
Yeah.
Oh.
Here.
Yes.
And she'll like every now and then have him hold something, or she'll have him do something with his hands.
Grounding him back in the physical world, yes.
Mm-hmm.
There are quite a few. He's black and blue by the end of the first 10 minutes.
It's not anything hard enough. It's just like whack. Nope.
Enough of them, though.
Naughty.
Gear is what's known as a slow learner. You have to hit him a lot. Like a strong-willed dog. No, don't hit your dogs. Hit your gears. Those are okay, but don't hit your dogs.
One time he gets a little too big for his britches, and as the stick's coming, he goes,
Exactly. He thinks he's ready. But he doesn't understand the spirit rules.
Yes.
The spirit stick hurts worse.
Oh, so it's Rafiki, not Yoda.
Yeah, oh, yes. Oh.
Correction.
Great scenes. One of the great scenes.
I know your
Never
father.
mind. Yeah. Anyway.
And so that's what Gear is up to.
Yes. Meanwhile, as the three of us scramble up the hillside, I have an idea, but I'm pausing to see if either one of you has anything to want to start with.
Nope, Caradwin's just moving.
Yeah. So the signal fire is just, I mean, it's a large bonfire like you would build. I mean, it's clear the site was hastily cleared out for the fire, and you know, it's clear they took what trees and wood and things they could find right around there, branches and things to build it up. Are we going to continue past?
Well, I was just
Or
gonna.
it's Onikiri?
I'll start with that moment right there, because as we get close to the fire, it's the whole top of a hilltop that's burning, and they've denuded like half of this hill to get the trees to do this. It's the fire is so big you can't even. Yeah, you can't exactly. You can't even get close to it. It's so hot. And almost against our wills, we turn around and look at the bottom of this valley as the horde and this group of shining, multicolored ancients. And as they get closer, you hear a roar. Because armies roar at those moments. You can't help it. You just... It's how you close that last 100 yards. You can hear from both sides as they give up whatever it is that makes them, for lack of a better word, people.
Individual.
And they slam these two armies, and you can feel it. Even all the way up here on this hillside. 4 armies on one side, 1 army on the other. In a moment, what used to be Frostmoth just disappears under a heaving mass of fighting, dying flesh. Even up here, you can hear it. You can't hear individual screams, we're too far away, but you can hear that roar of the combat, that constant clanging background like metallic rain. You can see it pushing back and forth across the bottom of this valley. It's going to be some time before this battle is over. And when it's done, what's left behind is going to be horrific.
And Caradwin has to physically pull herself from the site.
Tahiri will help pull her. We need to keep moving.
She's witnessed the loss of 2 steadings within the last couple of days. It's hard.
Yeah.
And she'll look kind of, after turning her back from it kind of helps jar that imagery out, and she'll kind of look past this beacon towards the mountains. Well, I guess we have to find a wyvern.
You know how this works.
I would say and a
Miss?
shaman.
And a shaman, yeah.
I'd say and a shaman, except Tahiri doesn't know that.
Yeah.
Yes.
But Caradwin's thinking that because she just did have the minor prayer session with the crows this morning.
One other thing, miss. You know how this works. When we find that egg and take it into our protection, that poor old wyvern we saw before can finally stop fighting that awful iron and lay down and rest.
If there's a way to help it, we'll try, but it might be nicer for it.
You saved an old steading today, miss. That's probably a pretty good score.
They tend to roast farther north. We should go that way.
Right, miss. I think we should start at that place where you and your friend found him before, eh? This seems like one of them full circle kind of stories, don't it? Don't look down there, miss. Don't look down there.
We should get going.
Oh, look, it's Brom. He comes out of the trees and I grab the bridle and hand it to you.
Brom's like, hey, what's up?
Yeah, just fight down there. I thought I'd leave. Yeah.
I was just hanging out up here, and hanging with my dudes.
And because of the way that I have it set up for tonight, that little question just popped up on screen as well. So it is a very good question. But
No, I don't think it did.
Because that was in the Zoom chat.
yeah, but it shows that whole window. So it was partially blocked by the bar between you and Austin, but it would have popped up right at the bottom there for a couple seconds. Anyway.
Are you guys heading towards the Onikiri circle?
Yes, that's my thought
I think
process.
so. Yeah, that's the direction.
The farther north we go, the more chances we'll find it.
Yeah, Bill doesn't know that that's where we're heading. He's just following Caradwin.
Oh yeah,
She's got the ideas.
Caradwin doesn't know where the Onikiri circle is. That's just where we marked it previously. And it's
Not
nice
specifically, but we're going back to where you found the eggs, right? So.
And chances are, the shaman would know about us before we know about the circle.
Absolutely. Which
Yep.
just makes me looking so much more forward to next week than I already was. But
And
yes,
so
somebody close us out. Somebody
I
or
have it for you.
somebodies. We're still like it's only quarter to the top of the hour. Closing arguments. Present your case to the jury and judge.
As all of you turn your back away from the scene that is the Battle of Frostmouth, Caradwin, you can't help but feel as if you've been gutted as you turn your back on your home, and as you look away, you can't help but let your eyes drift to the ground. And you have to kind of blink the tears from your eyes because you're not quite sure if what you saw is actually true. But there's a small flame, almost like a lighter, that is floating just above the snow, causing the snow to melt just a little bit. And just as quickly as it appeared, it goes out. As you begin searching for it again, this time further away, there's a small spark and another flame that dances in the wind before it goes out.
Does it look like the glimmer?
The will of the wisp.
They're like wisps, and they
The
manifest
Caradwin
with that
followed before.
little bit of electricity that you saw Manja the shaman use.
Austin, you
Ruh-roh.
and I discussed the possibility of a cutscene. Do we still want to do it?
Oh, this might be a really good. Oh,
Secrets.
All we did was plant the seed. I don't actually know how it would come out.
I think that may be a good idea. So somewhere far away from here, somewhere in the darkness, deep into the unknown, there's no light that reaches this far. Yet a woman sits, her eyes peering over this stone basin at the perfect surface of a black pool of water. And as she stands up, looking into that surface, she sees the bodies strewn across the snow. She takes a couple steps back and moves across the room. And in the darkness, her hands find the wooden table and the flesh of the person lying upon it as she runs her hands over the cold, sweaty skin. And she coos to him. Your sister started such a mess.
She started.
And here you sit, the source of all her angst, the sole reason she stands atop that mountain. And she leans down into his ear and whispers to him, I shall take more of you. And she begins to draw upon his energy and pull it away, the blood and the bone as he begins to writhe on the table, and he reaches out and his hands clasp the wood, one of which sinks deeply into the wood, somehow gathering some of the non-existent light and reflecting it as the iron that is his skin tightens around the wooden table. And as the energy is being drawn from him, it begins to spread up his arm.
And on the face, immediately,
You're muted, Kevin.
and on the face immediately to the side of me over here, that says it all, and that is the face that we will drop the curtain on this evening. That was wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, tonight. That was yet another one of those episodes. It just sucked us in, and we just went magnificently well. Oh, it was so much fun. Thank you all. Whew. So. Yeah, I'm at the same level of exhausted. Oh, wow, what another episode. This is where I almost forgot what I'm supposed to do next. This is where we go around the room and let these people tell us how wonderful they are when they're not here, being wonderful with me. Let's start with Austin this week. Let's just not give him a break. Right after that scene, we're going to make him come all the way back to reality and tell us what he does.
I run a game with all DMs on Monday, which is quite fun. I run an extremely dark and oppressive game on Tuesday, which is also quite fun.
Says the guy who plays Gear.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, believe it or not, Gear is like my brightest character if all my other characters are dark.
Oh, yeah. You got referred to tonight as caring and open.
I know.
And they're not wrong. Right.
On Wednesday, I play with two other of these people where we fight Nazis and Romans and the Spanish Inquisition.
Yes.
Nobody expects it.
Wasn't really expecting
No.
it. And on Thursday, I come back here to play Ironsworn as Gear Whitemane, the Shepherd of the Spirits, apparently.
Who has made a vow from beyond the grave, so that should be interesting.
I'm interested to see what Yora's got to teach him.
Yeah, it's going to be a heck of a scene. Let's just keep going around the circle. Karis, what has the smoke allowed you to return to something like your normal, incredibly busy routine?
Today the air was good.
Oh, good.
It was cool and the air was nice. Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, yeah, no, I don't know. I do stuff and things
You're all over YouTube.
And Ironsworn and
yeah,
Minecraft. Yeah. And I do have the next Minecraft episode about half done. This one involves a lot of digging. So there's a lot of off-camera work, and it's taking
There's a lot of mining
together.
And a lot of crafting.
A lot of crafting.
Some crafting, yeah.
Yes. So it's more like Minecraft.
Yeah. Wait,
yeah,
your craft. Anyway.
Oh, wow. And Robin. Oh, my goodness. So many things. I know most of these things, so don't leave any out because I'll call you on them. Tell us what you're doing.
Well, aside from trying to unpack my life in hopefully soon, won't happen, but hopefully, I am in a Wednesday game with Austin and Kevin, where I play a changeling that has a personality disorder and lost memories.
Yep.
That's fun.
And we lost. Oh, there we go.
And then I'm here as Caradwin, and then other than that, I'm doing art. Still working on unpacking and finding all of my supplies, so I don't have all of it yet, but I'm currently working on assets for Kevin's Saturday game that is Starfinder. It's very fun. My Star Trek nerd that I was grown up fostering is happy, very happy. And when I'm not playing around with those, I do some writing. I am helping with the Scar Adventure blog, and anything art wise is posted usually to my Twitter, Thunderscape7, and I'm that handle everywhere.
Absolutely. And I guess that leaves me, because that's the only one left. I gotta fix that. It still says I'm running Deadlands. I have to fix that all day.
I've only been telling you this for
I got it
weeks.
fixed on the other channel. I got fixed on both channels. I'm terrible at maintenance. Anyway, I'll fix that. But yes, I do not run a Deadlands game on Tuesday. What I do, though, is I do play Guy on Monday over at the Mercs of Mischief, which is joyous fun because there's 2 Guys now. There's an alt Guy who is a little bit different, but a little bit the same. He's good fun. Wednesdays, I play with 2 of these wonderful people. Thursdays, normally had electrical issues today, so we had to cancel it. But normally I do a game with brand new players who are viewers from the Mercs of Mischief channel, and we help teach them how to play D&D. And then Thursday nights I do this with these 3 maniacs. And then Friday, I have a whole bunch of different maniacs, and we do our Fun Shot Fridays, which are comedy one-page one-shots. Definitely tune in tomorrow, because there's some new player. There's only one. I was going to say some new players, but I know there's only one new, so to be accurate, there is some new player.
Force Patrollers.
And we're going to play Force Patrollers again, which has killed more player characters than any of the other one-shots that we've done over there, and that's saying something. And then on Saturdays, because my week's not busy enough, on Saturdays I've just started running a Starfinder campaign, a hard old school science fiction, no magic, no aliens, just some very desperate students on a very small spaceship trying to save the universe. And that's my week. So that's enough talking about me, because I don't like talking about me. I want to talk about these people some more in the form of saying thank you to them all. Thank you, Robin. Always, I have been looking forward to this trip back to Frostmoth. I did not expect us to flatten your steading in 1 episode, but thank you so much for coming along. And
Was that half your circle that we just killed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're
And the
up
thing
to
is,
2/3. We're up to 2/3 killed. A couple of them have been
See,
killed
also,
on
Edgemore,
screen.
Chillwater, Frostmouth,
Malwyn.
all of which is lore that you have gone into the time and the effort to create, and then Bill just keeps burning it down as we go from one to the next one. So thank you so much for continuing to show up, continuing to create lore that we can burn down. Thank you so much. P.S. I want that sweater. I saw the thumbs. I'm coming to get that. That is done. That's stolen.
Mine.
Yeah.
Mine.
Oh, Cara Sophia, thank you. The spider in the parlor. Oh, it's so much fun playing with you. Because you just...
And I dropped a few flies for Austin this week, too.
Yeah. 99% of the time, it's so sweet and wonderful and light, and then just when you trust you, it just blam, and then
And
we're
we have
all
cookies.
amazed. And there's cookies. Don't trust the cookies. Last time I had one of your cookies, I slept for 4 days and don't remember anything. That could have been something else. That might have been something else I did. Anyway, thank you very much.
You
for
woke
coming
up. It
and
was probably
playing.
something else.
It was probably something else. I'm not dead. Yes. Speaking of not dead, where did that come from? I don't know. I had no other segue. Austin, thank you so much for coming.
I mean, true.
Thank you for playing a dead character. I guess this all kind of ties together. This physically no longer there character who's coming back finally. That's wonderful. Thank you for making a vow from beyond the grave. That's really interesting twist on this game. And thank you for taking time out of your ludicrously busy week to come and play with us.
All is well.
All is well in the world. And then the last 2 thank yous. To the people on Twitch, thank you so much for showing up and watching this. And to the people who show up on YouTube and watch it later, I mean, I don't know what to say. Thank you. That's one for all of you, and then some more for extras. As always, until next time, please be nice to each other. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.